This week I thought I should talk about one of the least used and most misunderstood blocks in our fractal modelers, the multiplexer. What does multiplexer even mean? When I was a kid, a multiplex was a movie theater that had more than one screen. You went in through one door and then you chose which door you went in to see, whatever movie you were going to. Is the multiplexer something like that? Oddly enough, it is. Let's take a look. There's not a lot of information available on the multiplexer. There's a few videos on YouTube, plus there is this from the Blocks Guide. Now, I'm not going to sit here and read the whole thing. You guys can download the Blocks Guide and read it, but it just talks about what it is, the config page, and then there's an example. The example below shows one possible use of the multiplexer, used here to select one of 4 different drive pedals. And then the wiki basically says this: the multiplexer block is a routing and switching tool. It allows on-the-fly or scene-based switching between either rows on the grid, as long as you have them connected, or physical inputs. Input blocks on the grid aren't required, or USB. Now again, there's more in the wiki if you want to read it, but that's pretty much it. Now, of course, all the information that you need is in those 2 descriptions, but it sure would help if you had an example or 2, am I right? Well, I've set up some presets on the Axe FX3 to demo the multiplexer blocks, but you could also use the multiplexer on the FM3 and the FM9. Let's open Axe Edit and look at the first multiplexer preset that I made. This one is about as simple as it gets. Besides the out block, it has the multiplexer block, the amp block, and the cab block. It has 6 scenes, 1 for each of the 4 physical inputs, plus 2 for the USB inputs. Now, you probably won't use the USB inputs, but let's just say you're using 4 guitars on stage. Each guitar can be plugged into a different input, and you can just switch which input is active by switching scenes. See, multiplexer channel A is input 1. Channel B is input 2. Channel C is input 3. Channel D is input 4. Channel E is USB 5 and 6. And channel F is USB 7 and 8. Scene 1 uses channel A. Scene 2 uses channel B. Scene 3 uses channel C. Scene 4 uses channel D. Scene 5 uses channel E. And Scene 6 uses channel F. Now let's look at the second multiplexer preset that I made. This one uses the example from the Blocks Guide, where they're using 4 different drive blocks. You could set it up like the first preset, where each scene chooses a different drive block. But let's do something more whack. We'll click on the FC per preset tab. We'll go to per preset number 1 switch, which has category, effect, function, channel increase, decrease, effect, multiplex 1, increase, decrease, plus 1, wrap is on, lower limit is A, and upper limit is E. Now I clicked on FC edit and went to the effects layout. Since I'm not using the compressor switch in this preset, I'm going to use the tap function there to do that per preset function, which will do the channel increase decrease on the multiplexer block. You have to save the preset. This is a per preset switch, so if you don't save that with the preset, it's gone. Now let's look at the multiplexer block to see how those channels are defined. If we take a look at the multiplexer block, input select for channel A is row 5. What does that mean? Well, looking at the grid, the top line is row 1 and the bottom line is row 6. Remember, we learned back in school that rows go from left to right and columns go from top to bottom. If we look in the column with the drive blocks, we can see that row 5 has no drive block, so this will be a clean setting. Channel B is pointing to row 1, which has the clone Chiron. Channel C is pointing to row 2, which has the rat distortion. Channel D is pointing to row 3, which has the griddle cake. Channel E is pointing to row 4, which has the Zen master. We start out on the clean setting, then each press of the foot switch steps us through the 4 distortion blocks, then wraps around to the clean setting again. And we're still in the first scene. One more example. This preset shows you how your expression pedal can be a volume pedal in one scene and a wah pedal in another. Instead of 4 drive blocks, we have the Volpan block and the wah block. Both of these blocks are using external 1 as the modifier. The multiplexer block is set up so that channel A is choosing row 5, which has no effect. Channel B of the multiplexer block chooses row 3, which is the Volpan block. Channel C of the multiplexer block chooses row 4, which is the wah block. Now we set up 3 scenes. Scene 1 uses channel A of the multiplexer block, and it's called EXP off. Scene 2 uses channel B of the multiplexer block, and it's called volume. Scene 3 uses channel C of the multiplexer block, and it's called wah. I'll demo the second and third presets for you. The multiplexer is yet another one of those things that does not exist in the real world, but it sure is nice to have it in the Fractalverse. Give it a try and let me know how it works out for you. Okay, now next Wednesday we are going back to the factory for another fresh preset of the week. Now, you don't want to miss that, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and I will see you next week.